Hey friends, it's Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead, and in today's video I want to follow up with you on how I chose to preserve all that citrus that I shared with you in my last video. As I've mentioned several times, every January I receive a bulk citrus order, and sometimes I include other produce if I can get it at good prices. That citrus is ordered in December, and I always get the question, where do I get this from? And unfortunately, I don't have a good way to share that information with you. I found out about this citrus availability from a good friend of mine. She was raised in the German Baptist community, I guess in the Mennonite community, and she is who I go to for a lot of my bulk fruit that she gets from Amish country. Well, this citrus order comes from Bakersfield, California. There is, I believe, a German Baptist or a Mennonite family out there that has a citrus farm. And what they do is they do drop points all across the United States, mainly in Mennonite and German Baptist communities, where if the community will come together and if they place an order that's, let's say, 70 or 80 boxes in total, they will ship the fruit at no extra charge to that drop point and everybody gets their order. And so that's what I've done for probably the last 6 years, maybe. And it's been a blessing to me, but unfortunately they don't have a website. There's nothing I can direct you to. You would basically have to find a local Mennonite community to get in contact with someone to order this produce. So I apologize for that. I wish I had a way to help you out in sourcing this produce, but it's Sam Putt's, P-U-T-T-S, citrus out of Bakersfield, California. Maybe there are some internet sleuths out there that can come up with some information, and I'll pin it in the comments if anybody can find a phone number or anything that I can share with everybody on how to get in touch with this family. But okay, so back to the citrus. This year I ordered 4 boxes of lemons, 1 box of navel oranges, 1 box of grapefruit, and 1 box of mandarin oranges. And you'll have to excuse me, I've got puppies right outside the door that I can hear making noise, and I've got the freeze dryer going in that room, so I'm trying to hide in here and make it as quiet as possible. You guys may have noticed I've been doing a lot of voiceovers lately, and that's because between the freeze dryer going in the kitchen and just the general noise in a house with 7 children, in a small house with 7 children, being cooped up in the winter, it can get very loud around here, so voiceovers work better. And I've got to seize these little opportunities where it's quiet for me to kind of film these intros for you. Anyways, ignore the puppy noise and the freeze dryer noise. As I was saying, so I ordered 4 lemon boxes, 1 navel orange, 1 grapefruit, 1 mandarin, 1 10-pound box of dates, organic dates, and 1 25-pound bag of organic beets. I wasn't able to grow any beets last year and don't have any in the house, and I saw a great deal on them on the price list and just decided to go ahead and get a bag to preserve. So the grapefruit, the mandarins, and the navel oranges will be eaten fresh. The kids we're about 5 days into this fruit, and they've polished off 3/4 of a box of the mandarins, almost half of the grapefruit. They haven't really touched the navel oranges yet, but I'm sure they will as soon as the mandarins are gone. So all of that will be eaten fresh here, which is such a blessing. The timing of this is wonderful. We are still recovering from the illness that we've been dealing with in the house for the last couple weeks, and so the vitamin C is much needed and just such a blessing here in the house. So then my main preservation projects this week have been the lemons and the beets. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how I preserve those, how I've done it in the past, and also some experiments that I'm doing this year, kind of some new methods of preservation using the freeze dryer. So if that's something that interests you, why don't you stick around and I'll show you how I'm preserving all this citrus. So here is that order all together. There are the beets. Here are the dates that I got, 10 pounds of those. And as I mentioned, those will be eaten fresh. We've got grapefruit. We've got lots of lemons, navel oranges, and mandarins. This is what I'm working on preserving this week. So now you know what we're starting with. I'm going to start with the beets. I peeled all of my beets here, and we're going to can these. I'm going to show you how I can my beets. It's really easy. So the first thing you're going to do, you've got your quart jars. I need 7 of them for a batch, and I am just going to slice the tops and the root part off my beets and just put them in chunks, just like this. It's really that simple. You do need to peel them to can them because the peels can contain botulism spores and other bacteria. So I do peel them for canning. And then as you can see here, I'm just kind of chunking them up. Cut the top off, cut the root off, just slice and chop them into kind of a sizable chunk, and then you're just going to put them directly into your jars until you fill them. We're going to leave a 1-inch head space, so make sure you don't overfill all the way to the top. And then there you go. You can see my jars. Ooh, beets really stain your hands, don't they? I've looked like that all week processing these beets. Now we're just going to raw pack with water. This is just water straight from the tap. And then I'm going to work on getting my air bubbles. It's much easier to do with 2 hands. But get the air bubbles out from the beets there, and then just adjust your water line to make sure you're leaving 1 inch of head space with these. And nothing, you don't need to add salt or anything. Salt isn't necessary for safety. This is just beets and water. Then we're going to put our lids on and our rings, and we're going to process these in the pressure canner for 35 minutes at 10 psi for quarts here. And it's really that simple. That's all you have to do for your beets. Up next, I'm going to start working on lemons. So in the past, when I've juiced lemons, I've used this hand juicer, and it would kill my wrist. I would literally do 3-4 bushels of lemons just using this, and by the end of 2 weeks, I couldn't move my hands. It hurt so bad. And last year, I stopped being cheap, and I bought myself a little electric juicer. And this is really the only time out of the year that I actually get it out and use it, but it is so worth it because it saves my wrists from a lot of pain. So all I'm going to do is just slice my lemons. I'm going to juice them in the electric juicer and then save the peels. And then I'm going to try freeze drying lemon juice. My goal with this is to create kind of a lemonade powder I can mix with some sugar and have a shelf-stable lemonade powder. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, though. We're going to try it and experiment today. And then all these seeds that are left over from juicing, my chickens love them. So I just put those in the chicken bucket. Now with this electric juicer, it can't run for really long periods of time. I have to juice for maybe 15 minutes and get as much as I can done, and then I have to give the motor a break or else I will burn it out. So word of caution, don't use it all day long. And then I'm going to freeze the rest of my lemon juice. This is typically how I preserve it. Yes, you can freeze in glass jars. The key to doing it is to not overfill. If you overfill, the liquid will obviously expand and it will crack your jars. So I freeze these in pint jars like this, and it's the perfect amount for a batch of lemonade, and it works great leaving that headspace. Now I'm going to slice lemon slices. In the past, I've frozen them, but it uses up freezer space. So we're going to try freeze drying them and see how they turn out. So I have some lemon slices that are actually left over, and then I have the ends from the lemons that I sliced. And what I'm going to do now is make lemon extract. I typically use vodka to do this. This is a batch that I currently have, and David uses it in his baking. He makes a lemon biscotti, and he uses this homemade lemon extract in his biscotti that he makes just about every week, or at least every other week. And now there are other ways to make extracts. We're currently doing a pantry challenge. I do not have vodka in the house, but I do have vegetable glycerin. And you can make extracts from glycerin. It just takes a little longer for the glycerin to extract the flavors out of the vanilla beans or the citrus or the peppermint or whatever it is you're doing. So I'm just stuffing my jar here full of these lemon peels, and then I'm pouring the glycerin right on top of it. And I'll get all the air bubbles out and make sure it completely fills up and those citrus peels are completely covered with the glycerin. And once again, you could also do this with vodka or even rum, and you're going to get the same result. And then we're just going to stick this in a cabinet and let all that flavor be extracted into the alcohol, and you'll have your extract. You can also do this with vinegar and make a cleaning product. That's another way we use the peels. All right. Dirty hands again because I was slicing beets. We're going to also experiment with freeze drying some beet slices. So there is my batch for the freeze dryer today. We're going to do the juice, the lemon slices, and the beet slices. But first, I've got to get these lemon juice pints in the freezer, and whenever I want some lemon juice or lemonade, I just pull out a pint of juice, I thaw it, and then we add it some water and sugar, and that's what gets us through the summer. All right, it's freeze dryer time, and I have a Harvest Right medium size freeze dryer with the Premier pump. If you want more information about it, check out the description. And we've got to work through all those citrus boxes sitting there. All right. My stuff is all done. I had it in the freeze dryer overnight. All those trays that I showed you that I had loaded in there, the process is now complete. Let me show you how these items turned out. There are my lemon slices looking wonderful. And here is the lemon juice. It's still kind of sticky. I'm not quite satisfied with those results. The lemon slices turned out perfectly. They're perfectly dried and shelf stable, and so that is a method that is much preferable to freezing for me. And here are my beet slices. They also turned out perfectly dry and wonderful, but that lemon juice is going to need to freeze dry a little longer. All right, the kids are enjoying just eating these lemon slices plain. I think John, they might be a little too sour for him. Ooh, look at that face. But I guess that's one way to get the vitamin C in them. We're typically will use these lemon slices in our tea. That's our number one use. So when we want hot tea with lemon, we'll just grab a slice and put it in there. Now these beets, my plan for them is to put them in the food processor and make beetroot powder. I have bought a little jar of beetroot powder from Azure Standard before. This little jar cost me $9. And if I calculate the ingredients that I put in the freeze dryer, this cost me less than $1 to freeze dry this same amount of organic beets, and with the cost of electricity and everything. I can spend $9 to buy it, or I can just freeze dry it myself, and it cost me about $1. Look at that beautiful powder. It's such a pretty color. So that was a success. I'm going to start the freeze dryer up. I've got to finish freeze drying this lemonade powder, and I'm doing another batch of slices. There's my beetroot powder all done and beautiful. We're going to get that on the pantry shelf, and I'm going to continue freeze drying beets until I get my jars all full, and that'll look lovely. Oh, Gracie's smelling the lemons. She said they smelled really good. And so that is the plan for the rest of these lemons. I don't think I'm gonna continue to freeze dry the lemon juice, but we are gonna do more lemon slices. I'm gonna freeze the rest of my lemon juice for lemonade, and that's gonna be my preferred method. All right, those were some fun experiments. All right, friends, and that's it so far for this week. I've got about 1 box of lemons here done. I have 3 more to go. And so what I do is I store the citrus boxes in my kitchen right by, we have sliding glass doors, and it's been very cold outside lately. I think last night it got down to -20 with the wind chill. So with that citrus by those doors, it stays very cool in that area, and it's the perfect temperature to kind of preserve these the fruit as it is until we get a chance to preserve or eat it. So over the next week or so, every day I'll just juice as much as I can in a batch using that electric juicer, and as the motor sounds like it starts needing a little bit of a break, I'll step away and then I'll come back and usually do 2 batches of juicing a day until I get through all the lemons, and usually 5 to 7 days we get through it all, and then I will have enough lemon juice to get us through the whole year. This is what I use as lemon juice in a lot of my recipes, and also what we use for lemonade. And through the summer, my kids have lemonade at least once a week. We love to have that, especially on the nights that we're grilling out on the weekend with Adam home. It's just such a lovely treat. And getting the citrus at this time of year and preserving it for the rest of the year saves us a ton of money. It also gives us the best quality fruit because it is in season right now. And it's just wonderful to have on hand. I don't have to worry about it. Once I get through all these lemons, I am set for the rest of the year, and that is such a blessing. So, all right. Keep your eyes open. This Sunday will be another video coming out sharing this week's meals on the Pantry Challenge. And until then, I hope you're having a great week. I'll see you later, friends. Bye.